Big good one here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Help promote and rank up my channel. It only takes a moment to subscribe, and you help me out tremendously. Don't forget to comment. Let me know what you thought of this particular film, and to hit that like button. Really helps me out in the algorithm, trying to grow this small infant channel to something larger. So we're going to be reviewing The Little Things, 2021 release, HBO Max release, one of those exclusives straight to HBO Max in theaters. And the logline on this one is rather simple. Two cops track down a serial killer. You have former big city cop that went small time, comes back to the big city, hooks up with this new hotshot guy, and together they work on this case that's strikingly familiar to him. And it all sounds very cliche because it is. This kind of thing's been done a bunch of times. The director and writer on this is John Lee Hancock. This stars Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, Jared Leto. All-star cast, right? I mean, sounds like it's going to be great. It sounds like it's going to be really interesting, this thriller crime drama. Alright, so let's talk about the little things. The positives on this one really are the little things. It's just a stellar all-star cast meant to lure you in to a script that's pretty boring, tired, and execution-wise, while these actors are great in their portrayals, Rami Malek and Denzel Washington and Jared Leto, his character is pretty fascinating, I'd say. I want to know more about what's going on with him and why he's this way. And it doesn't get too far into certain things that you would want it to get into. It does start off with a compelling opening, and these characters do have some layers to them, but they're not really like tremendously fleshed out or anything. There's really not a lot to say when I talk about the positive on this. Unfortunately, there's really not a lot to say. You have a somewhat compelling murder mystery, and portrayed by good actors, but there's just not much done with it. So the negatives on this one, there's a lot of negatives on it. I mean, starting from the opening scene that's compelling in itself, but characters make stupid decisions all the time throughout this movie. You've got Denzel Washington, who has no business being all over these crime scenes, touching everything, and it's such a tired script, and everybody gives such a tired performance. There are pacing issues with the script, and it's just such a cliche. This newer generation meets this older generation. This former big city cop turned small town cop comes back to the big city to investigate a case that's familiar to him, and then he sticks around to kind of help out the newer, younger generation and it's just tired. It's cliche. There are moments in there that have potential to have greatness to them. There are certain things about it that are fascinating. That there are some thrilling moments. There are some moments of like, well, this is interesting. But for the most part, it's just a boring, tired kind of scenario that we've seen way too many times. And you could do things that we've seen way too many times, but you can't do them when the execution on them feels like you just were exhausted with the concept of it from the first place. That this is something that's been done so much that it is tired. It is tired. And then you follow that up with an execution that's just as tired as this cliche is. It's a rather boring film that doesn't have a great payoff or anything. This is the HBO Max exclusive of the month, and everybody just phoned it in. Everybody just let's just grab some really famous people that have a good rep.
Either you're somebody or you're nobody. Be right.
And we will draw people into this one, and that's all we got going for us. The bare minimum of effort, structure, pacing, and no real great payoff or anything. It's rather surprising when you have such a strong selection of actors that signed up for it.
Never forgetting where we came from.
So my final score on this one is 5 out of 10, and it's lucky it gets that. It's just, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't god awful, but it's the kind of film where you're like,
and why the fuck are you wasting my 2 precious hours with your movie?
because, and when it does get to those interesting points, it just doesn't have a good payoff to them. It doesn't have a good payoff to the portions of the film that are compelling and that start to draw you in and make you want to know more, make you want to see where it's going to go. There's never a good payoff to any of the stuff, really. It's just a real letdown. It's a tired film. That covers ground that's been covered too much, and it doesn't do anything new, interesting, or inventive with it. It's just a boring film.
Don't have any use for it. I don't have any bloody use for it.
And that's all I can say about it. 5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Maybe you found it more interesting than me, but I cannot recommend this one at all. It's a very average, middle of the road film that doesn't really hook. I can't say that. I can't see how it would hook anybody. I mean, there are plenty of films out there exactly like this that have a better payoff. I just can't recommend it. 5 out of 10, average film, but not worth the watch. There are bad films. There are bad films with interesting ideas and stuff that with people that can't even act, that don't have all-star cast, don't have like the best acting or production values. There are bad films with better things than this, and I don't recommend it. 5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Fake good one here. Eventually we will. Like, subscribe, share, stay awesome, rock on.